If you want to support the channel, check out my book in the description below. Also linked in the description below, Tiny House Summer Camp, year number 11, I think, is happening up in Vermont, camping included. It's always an awesome time, hands-on building. Check out the link down below.
Let's keep this brief. I love cooking. I'm the primary cook for my family. My wife doesn't cook so much. And having a smaller house and a very small kitchen, 10 by 10 feet, and that's not including the space that the cabinets, fridge, and everything occupies. I like to cook simple things, especially for my picky kids. This is something based on a Bannock recipe, basically pioneer on Navajo bread, kind of similar. That can be used as naan for Indian food. You can use it as a dessert with powdered sugar. You can make it into pizzas. I use it as dough for empanadas. I make what my kids call Polish empanadas with kielbasa meat and veggies that they love, a little bit time consuming. But this dough is very versatile. I'm going to show you how to make pizza super quick and easy and cheap. And this especially is advantageous if you have this recipe here, if you have a very small kitchen, like I said, and perhaps live in a tiny house. So let's go.
So this is really a 3-ingredient pizza dough, like I said, based on Bannock, Bannock. You can find that recipe online. Flour, it's just kind of by eye. Basically what you're doing is creating a dough almost to like Play-Doh-like consistency that's, well, not slightly moist, but, dry enough where you can work it without it sticking to the counter, which we'll get to later. It's just flour, water, and salt. The oil you can add if you want. It gives a little bit more flavor, but keep in mind you'll be cooking it in oil later on if you want to do it fry bread style. If you don't want as much oil, you can use less, or you can cook it in some cases in a non-stick skillet without any oil at all. When you mix this, like I said, by eye, you're going to have to add some flour now and again to dry up the dough if you've added too much water, and just go back and forth. You can make it in bigger batches, of course. I usually do if I'm feeding everybody in the family, all 4 of us, but this was just for lunch for me, so I'm keeping it rather simple. Then I'm going to flour the counter or your cutting block or wherever you're going to roll this out, just so it won't stick to the counter, because even when you think it's dry, when you roll it out, believe me, it will stick to the counter, and you won't be able to pry it up off the counter. It'll just be this gooey ectoplasm, sticky mess that isn't workable. A little tip, if you don't have a rolling pin, you can use a wine bottle. You can also just use a simple flat bottom plate to kind of carefully apply pressure, pressing down on dough to squish it out, roll it out. So if you want to have fewer items in your kitchen that you store, of course you can have a rolling pin if you bake a lot, but there's some tips right there. There are other things you can naturally use. As I bumped the camera here for whatever reason, I think the rolling pin actually hit the base of the camera. But you get the idea. Roll it into whatever shape you want. I can use this dough to make like strombolis if you like those. You could probably use it for, I know you can. You can use it for calzone dough as well. You can flavor it up, add other things to it. Add some oil to your pan. I went a little bit overboard here, but this is more for the fry bread effect. Out west, I know they call it Navajo fry bread. It's kind of a version of like the fair bread, the fried bread you buy that people put sauce on in Connecticut. It's unheard of in Massachusetts here to do that, or powdered sugar on. And you're just gonna peek at it when the underside starts getting a little crisp and brown. Flip it as it just did. You didn't see that in real time. Add some sauce. I normally wouldn't use normal pasta sauce. Get some actual pizza sauce because there is a big difference, but this is all I had. Like I said, this is a recipe when there's not many ingredients in the house. When I don't have sauce, I will just put barbecue sauce, a thin layer on this, and add cheese. And in some ways, it's better than using the pasta sauce. So spread it out however much you want on there. Some people love a lot of it. Some people just a hint, a whisper of sauce. And then add whatever cheese. I had mozzarella cheese, but I prefer adding a blend of, I'm a sucker for Parmesan cheese, and I'll buy the good blocks of it and shred it myself for pasta and add some on top for pizzas. I did not have any. This was like the poor man's meal, where this is just the stuff I happen to have in the household. Hadn't gone shopping in a bit. So add the cheese and just wait a bit. This is going to be sped up here. We're going to jump around in time. Add whatever ingredients you have kicking around in your fridge. I like to add green peppers, onions if I have them, Skittles, Nerds, candies. No, not really. But peppers and onions is my favorite. And you're just cooking this by eye. Don't set your range on high because you will burn this real quick. But just take your time with it. Keep an eye on it. And you'll know when it's done. I'll give you a couple tips in just a second. Now I got this huge pot lid at a storage auction. My wife's like, throw it out. But I'm the one that cooks in the household. I'm like, I will use this. And I do, to speed up cooking in frying pans once in a while, to kind of trap and retain that heat. So it'll cook on its own and the cheese will melt. But if you want to do it quicker, you can add this top over it so that the cheese melts rapidly. Got some extra peppers, and watch this. My daughter fosters guinea pigs. In fact, they're really expensive. So if you ever want to make a donation, they were basically rescued guinea pigs. I'll leave my PayPal down below. She would appreciate it hugely. Cinnamon, cinnamon, cinnamon. Want some peppers? These things are eating machines. This was a rescued one that was abandoned. It's still a little skittish. Here. Pepper. Manja. And we also got these two hiding in here. Crikey. It's okay. All right, let's go handheld check it. Yeah, good enough. You can go longer if you want to get a little brown and get that cheese melted more, but this thing is so hot that when I sit it for a bit, it's going to continue to melt. So there you go. The other thing you can do, you can take this pizza and cook it halfway, then throw it in the oven, and it will crisp it up even more. I do that sometimes, just takes a little bit more time. It's actually got a little bit of crisp to it, but being pan fried, it's not going to get that crunch that some of you love, that Detroit style crunch. So there you go, simple pizza. Doll it up with some other toppings, some oregano, some hot pepper. I put hot sauce on my pizza all the time. I won't do that just now. But there you go. Hope you dig it. Simple enough. Try it out. Let me know what you think in the comments down below.